Hello, friends, and welcome back to TJKidz Super Fun Stories, where imagination becomes reality. Today's adventure is about a school that disappeared. How was that even possible? Well, this one is a mystery. Maybe you can figure out what happened with this missing school. Time to put on those detective hats. So grab a comfy spot, get cozy, and join me for this adventure. The day our school disappeared. Kat, Christopher, and Aubrey met up at their bus stop. Today was the first day of school, and the three of them were buzzing with excitement. They talked about their summer and made plans to meet up for lunch in the cafeteria. Just then, the school bus rolled up to their stop. "Morning, kids," said the bus driver, Mr. Stargate. "Hop on. Hollins Elementary, here we come." The kids climbed aboard, chatting about new teachers, new backpacks, and who might be in their class this year. Mr. Stargate glanced at the map on his phone. "Huh," he said. "Looks like there's a huge traffic jam on the main road. That's not going to work. I've never been late in 22 years, and I'm not starting today. We're taking a detour." "A detour?" asked Kat. "What's a detour?" "A detour means an alternate route," Aubrey responded. "You know, like a different way to get to the same place. Sometimes a shortcut." Mr. Stargate looked at the map again. "Okay, it appears there's a small road up here on the left. At least I think it's a road. Says it leads straight to Hollins in Maine." As Mr. Stargate turned off onto the tiny road, Christopher looked out the window. "Where are we?" he said. "I've lived here my whole life, and I've never seen this road." "Me either," Aubrey said. "It almost looks like we just entered another country." As they traveled further down the road, the pavement turned to gravel. Then, the gravel turned to dust. Soon the road shrank until it was barely wide enough for the bus. Kat looked out the window. "Where are all the houses? Or animals, even? This is the strangest place I've ever seen. There's nothing but dirt road and weeds." Mr. Stargate kept driving. "The map says we're 5 minutes away. Looks like we'll be right on time." Then, a blinding flash of light lit up the sky. "What was that?" Chris shouted. "It looked like lightning," Kat said. Aubrey looked out the window. "But the sky is totally clear." "Maybe it was some heat lightning," Mr. Stargate said. "Nothing to worry about. 1 more minute and we'll be at school." The bus rolled forward, turned the final corner, and pulled up to Hollins and Maine. "See?" Mr. Stargate said. "Told you, we're right on time." The kids grabbed their backpacks and stepped off the bus. But as they made their way toward the school, something was off. Kat looked at the ground. The grass seemed longer than usual. Then he looked up. Guys, where's our school?" he said. The other kids all looked around. "Wait," said one kid. "Are we in the right place?" Christopher checked the street again. "This is Hollins in Maine." Aubrey pointed at the plaza nearby. "The statue is there. The fountain is there too. Everything is here except, where's the school?" They ran back onto the bus. "Mr. Stargate," Kat said, "our school isn't there." Mr. Stargate laughed. "Nice try. Go on now." Look, Aubrey said. She grabbed Mr. Stargate's shirt and pointed. Mr. Stargate peered through the open bus doors and froze. Huh? He said. That can't be. That's an empty field. He rubbed his eyes and looked down at the map. Then he checked the street sign. Then he looked over and saw the plaza. Everything seemed right, but the school was missing. Okay, Christopher said. There is definitely something weird happening. Another kid on the bus shouted. Maybe it's a mirage. What's a mirage? Kat asked. Christopher explained. A mirage is an optical illusion caused by bending light in hot air. What's an illusion? Another kid asked. An illusion is a false image or a trick of the senses, Aubrey replied. Something that looks different from how it really is. I don't think it's a mirage, Mr. Stargate said. How could we all be seeing the same thing? Or in this case, not seeing the same thing. Wait, shouted another kid from the back of the bus. Maybe it's a group hallucination. What's a hallucination? Asked another. A hallucination is when your senses tell you something that isn't real, Christopher replied. Seeing things that aren't there, or not seeing things that are there. Mr. Stargate rubbed his eyes again. I feel like I'm having deja vu. What's a deja voodoo? Kat asked. Deja vu, Mr. Stargate corrected. It's a strong feeling that you've lived through this exact moment before, even though you know you haven't. Okay, seriously, said Aubrey. Where is our school? Why is the plaza here, but not the building? And where are all the teachers and the other buses and the other kids? Kids? I hate to tell you, began Mr. Stargate, but something very strange is going on. I've been here over 100 times. The school should be right there. They all hopped off the bus again and headed toward the plaza. That's when they began noticing the people. Something seemed different. The way they dressed, the way they walked, and no one was holding a phone. A man in a full suit and fedora hat stared at them as if they looked out of place. Then, a woman in a long dress whispered to her friend and pointed at the kids. Another woman walked up to them. Who are you, children? She asked. And what are you wearing? Shouldn't you be in school? We're trying to go to school, Aubrey said. But it's gone. It's supposed to be right there. She pointed to the field. The woman laughed. Very funny. Playing hooky, are we? Kat turned back to the group. What's hooky? Hooky means skipping school without permission, Mr. Stargate explained. It's kind of an old-timey term. Okay, this is getting weird, said Christopher. Let's all get back on the bus to regroup, Mr. Stargate said. The group headed back to the bus and hopped on. Mr. Stargate closed the door. Kids, I don't know what's happening, but I know we're in the right location. It's just different, like a different time. But I'm no scientist. I'm just a bus driver. Let's drive over to my house, said Christopher. My dad's a scientist. He'll know exactly what's going on. My house is only 5 minutes from here. So Mr. Stargate drove down Hollins Street toward Christopher's house. As they traveled down the main road, Everyone began noticing that things were a little different. Ket pointed out the window.
Wait, where's the Super Mega Mart? It's supposed to be right there. And TJ's coffee shop should be on that corner,
Aubrey added.
My mom gets her iced caramel swirl there every morning.
But instead of a coffee shop, a shiny silver diner sat on the corner, the kind with a big neon sign out front.
You're right, said Christopher. I've never seen that place in my life.
They kept driving. The farther they went, the stranger everything looked. Older cars, old-fashioned street lamps, and houses that looked like they belonged in history books. When they turned onto Christopher Street, things got even stranger. Christopher's house wasn't there, and every one of his neighbors' houses had vanished too. Instead, an open field stretched across the entire block. In the middle sat a tiny farmhouse with a windmill beside it. Christopher's mouth dropped open.
This can't be right. My house should be right there.
I think I know what's going on here, said Mr. Stargate.
What?
Asked Ket. I think we traveled back in time somehow, Mr. Stargate responded. I think maybe we went through a Stargate. Christopher gave him a funny look.
What do you mean? That's your last name.
Mr. Stargate laughed. Oh, not me. I mean an actual Stargate. A Stargate is a portal, a doorway to another place or another time.
So, are you saying we are in the past?
Aubrey asked.
Or maybe another dimension?
Ket added.
Or a wormhole?
What's a wormhole? Asked another kid on the bus.
I know this one, said Christopher. A wormhole is a tunnel through space-time, like a shortcut through the universe.
Oh, like the space-time continuum, shouted another kid on the bus. I remember that from a movie.
Is that even a real thing?
Asked Ket.
Yes, Aubrey responded. It's the idea that space and time are connected. Scientists use it to explain how things move through the universe.
Kids, listen up, said Mr. Stargate. Whatever happened, we're not in our time anymore.
Well, what do we do?
Asked Christopher.
My house and parents don't even exist here. Are we stuck in this time forever? I think I've got it, Aubrey blurted. Remember when we were driving on that dirt road in the middle of nowhere and saw that bright flash? That must have been it. The portal or the wormhole Stargate or whatever.
I think you may be right, Aubrey, said Mr. Stargate. I think we need to retrace our steps. He turned the bus around and headed back down Hollins until they arrived where the school should have been. Okay, said Mr. Stargate. Now we just drive the other direction down that dirt road, and hopefully that will lead us through, well, whatever we went through. They drove down the dirt road, retracing their route. Moments later, there was another blinding flash. The bus rattled and shook as the kids all cheered. Mr. Stargate stopped the bus for a moment and turned around. Kids, I think we're back. We'll know soon enough. Then he continued driving. When they reached the main road, things seemed to be back to normal. Cars were everywhere again. People walked the streets holding phones, and the buildings looked familiar. They drove to Hollins Elementary the regular way. And there it was. The school was right where it should be.
We made it!
Cat shouted. Hey, check this out, said Mr. Stargate. It looks like we're only 5 minutes late. Something must have happened when we went through that Stargate that slowed down time.
Oh boy, said Christopher. I feel like I already lived a whole day. I feel like I was already in school, said Aubrey. We learned what a mirage, illusion, hallucination, wormhole, portal, and space-time continuum are. Maybe we should teach science class today.
Everyone laughed. As they all stepped off the bus, they high-fived Mr. Stargate. See you tomorrow, kids, he said. Maybe no shortcuts. They laughed and ran toward the school. The end. And that is the end of our story, friends. Oh boy, I wondered if those kids were going to be trapped back in time forever. But luckily, they worked together, stayed calm, asked good questions, and figured out the mystery of the disappearing school. And that leads me to a moral I learned from today's story. Working together makes big problems feel a whole lot smaller. Because when everyone shares their ideas, you end up seeing things you never would have noticed on your own. What did you learn? Anything else? Well, that's it for today, friends. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one. Toodles!